to clarify what distinguishes each of the possible options for extra-dimensional universes. Because the idea of extra dimensions is probably new to many listeners, in the first few chapters I've explained what I mean when I use these words, and why extra dimensions can exist but be invisible and intangible. After that, I've outlined the theoretical methods with which particle physicists approach their work to clarify the kind of thinking that enters into this admittedly very speculative research. The recent work on extra dimensions relies on both more traditional and more modern theoretical physics concepts to motivate the questions it answers and its methods. In order to explain what is driving such research, I've included an extensive review of 20th-century physics. The review begins with general relativity and quantum mechanics, before turning to particle physics and the most important concepts that particle physicists employ today. I've presented some rather abstract ideas that are often neglected, in part because they are so abstract. But these concepts are now confirmed by experiment and enter into all research that we do today. Although not all of this material is essential for understanding the ideas you'll learn later on about extra dimensions, I believe many listeners will be glad to get a more complete picture. After this, I've described some newer, more speculative notions that have been studied for the last 30 years, namely supersymmetry and string theory. Traditionally, physics has involved an interplay between theory and experiment. Supersymmetry is an extension of known particle physics concepts and has a good chance of being tested in forthcoming experiments. String theory is different. It is based solely on theoretical questions and ideas, and isn't even completely mathematically formulated yet, so we can't yet be certain of its predictions. As for me, I'm an agnostic on this subject. I don't know what string theory will ultimately be, or whether it will solve the questions of quantum mechanics and gravity it sets out to address. But string theory has been a rich resource for new ideas, some of which I've exploited in my own research on extra dimensions of space. These ideas exist independently of string theory, but string theory gives us a good reason to think some of their underlying assumptions could be right. Having established the context, I'll finally return to the many exciting new developments about extra dimensions. They tell us remarkable things, such as that extra dimensions can be infinite in size, yet remain unseen, or that we can be living in a three-spatial dimensional sinkhole in a higher dimensional universe. We now also know reasons why there can be unseen parallel worlds with very different properties from our own. Throughout the text, I've explained physics concepts without equations. In the text itself, I've tried to expand the range of metaphors that are used to explain scientific concepts. A lot of the descriptive vocabulary everyone uses come from spatial analogies, but these often fail in the tiny realm of elementary particles and the hard-to-picture space with extra dimensions. It seemed to me that less conventional metaphors, even ones about art and food and personal relations, might work at least as well in explaining abstract ideas. To make the transition for the new ideas in each chapter, I've begun the chapters with a brief story that isolates a key concept using more familiar metaphors and settings. I'm having fun with these stories, so go back to catch the references after you've listened to the chapter if you like. You might think of the stories as a two-dimensional narrative going down through the chapters and horizontally across the book. Or you might treat them as a sort of playful homework problem that lets you gauge when you've absorbed the ideas in a chapter. Introduction. Got to be good-looking 'cause he's so hard to see. The Beatles. The universe has its secrets. Extra dimensions of space might be one of them. If so, the universe has been hiding those dimensions, protecting them, keeping them coyly under wraps. From a casual glance, you would never suspect a thing. The disinformation campaign.